Welcome to Basaveddi English Medium School's online classes. Good morning, everyone. I said good morning. How are you all? Doing well? Good. So, your online classes have started. I hope you have got all your books down, opened them, dusted them properly. Okay, now let's begin with the classes, right? So, today we are going to deal with the first chapter of your 7th standard science. Ready? Shall we? So, in case of 6th standard, you learnt about food, where does it come from, then components of food. So, here in 7th standard, first chapter is nutrition in plants. That means how do these plants get their nutrition? What is the process that they are going through to get this nutrition? Okay, so let's begin with the chapter nutrition in plants. In case of food, we had different ingredients, okay, like carbohydrates. You have studied this in your previous class. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, water, and roughages. Because these all ingredients all together give us energy. Okay, so that's why we call them as nutrients, which are very necessary for our body. Okay, so with the help of these nutrients we get nutrition. So then what is nutrition? It is the mode of taking food by an organism, not just taking the food, but its utilization by the body is called as nutrition. That means if you just eat, it's not called as nutrition. Whatever we eat, our body processes it, and we should get the energy out of it, right? That's why we eat food, right? Or just simply we go on putting like a dustbin everything in this. No, we eat at regular time, regular interval of time, correct? With that much of quantity, which how much is required for our body. All right, okay. So next we have autotrophic. So what does this term autotrophic means? Auto means self, self. Trophos means nourishment, nourish ಮಾಡೋದು. The mode of nutrition in which organisms make food themselves from simple substances. That means in case of autotrophic nutrition, here the organisms have the capacity to produce their own food. Now, which would be the best example for this? Yes, plants. Plants are the best example for autotrophic nutrition. So that's why plants are called autotrophs. What are they called as? Autotrophs. Okay. Now next we have heterotrophic nutrition. Heteros means other. Heteros means other. Again, trophos means nourishment. Here the nutrition, whatever nutrients we get it from other organisms. Okay, that's why it is heterotrophic. The mode of nutrition in which organisms depend on their source for food, they are known as heterotrophic. Such organisms are called heterotrophs. Okay, so we have autotrophs. Auto means self, hetero means depending on others. Okay, now let's go with next one. Photosynthesis, food making process in plants. So we came to know that plants are autotrophs because they have the capacity to produce their own food. So how do they have this capacity to produce their own food? There has to be a process, right, from which they are producing their own food. So that particular process is known as photosynthesis. Now, photo means light. Synthesis means to prepare. Photo means light. Synthesis to prepare. It takes place in leaves, so they are called as food factories. So, what is photosynthesis process then? Right? Photosynthesis is a process where we make use of simple components. We'll come to know which are they, like water, carbon dioxide, green pigment, chlorophyll, and we produce carbohydrates. That is the food, right? Okay. So let's go. That means this is called as photosynthesis. Now, which are the raw materials required in case of photosynthesis? Which are they? Water, carbon dioxide, sunlight, and green pigment which is present in the leaf called chlorophyll, right? So, how does this process start? From where does it start? So, basically, as we said, water, right, as the raw material for the process of photosynthesis. So, how does the plant get it, the water? Okay, let's see here. The water and the important minerals are absorbed by roots and transported to leaves. That means in case of your plant, we have a root system. From the root, the water and minerals are being absorbed, okay, and they are being transported to the leaf. Okay, the transportation takes place by the vessels which run throughout the roots, stems, and leaves. They form a continuous passage. That means the transportation, that is moving from one place to another, takes place by the vessels. These vessels are like pipe like structures which run throughout the roots, stems, and leaves, even your branches. ರೂಟ್ ನಿಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಮೇಲಿನ ತುದಿ ಮೇಲಿರುವಂತ ಲೀಫ್ ವರೆಗೆ ಹೋಗೋ ತನನು ಈ ವೆಸಲ್ಸ್ಗಳು, ಪೈಪ್ಲೈನ್, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ನೀರಿಂಗ್ ಪೈಪ್ಲೈನ್, ಆಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ pipelines for our water supply, same way the plants also do have the small pipe like structures called as vessels, and they run out throughout your roots, stems, branches, and leaves, and it is a continuous passage. There is no breakage there. Okay, you can see here now. Here this is your plant. So see, H2O, water is being taken in. How it comes? See here. This is the pipeline. It is in completely shown in a complete way. This is how it has entered here and it is going in here. So this is your pipeline, that is called as xylem actually, xylem and phloem. So xylem is the vessel or the pipe which supplies the water to the plant. So it comes here like this and it enters into the leaf. Okay, and here the leaf you make use of your water and minerals for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, all right. Now we said we have water, carbon dioxide. So water, we came to know how it comes, what are the uh, transportation processes taking place for this water. Next we have carbon dioxide. From where does it carbon dioxide come from? Carbon dioxide from air, which is present in the air, is taken in by through the tiny pores on surface of leaves. That means whatever carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere, it is being taken in by the tiny pores which are present on the surface of the leaves. These pores are called stomata. Can you see? This is the stomata. This is your 3D structure of your leaf. And here, can you see these gaps here? Yes. This is your stomata. This is your stomata. This is how it looks in zoomed way. Okay, complete. Then, stomata are surrounded by guard cells. So, this is your stomata. And can you see these bean-like structures here? 1 and 2. Yes, they are called as your guard cells. So, whenever the carbon dioxide is coming in, it is opened. The stomata is open. And whenever, once the carbon dioxide has entered inside, they close it. If something as our door, if we want to go out, we open the door and then again we close it, right? Same way here also. These guard cells are acting as the doors. Whenever the carbon dioxide is to be taken inside, they open, and whenever it has to be closed, it is not required, they just close it. They shut the doors there. The leaves have green pigment called chlorophyll. So this is the reason why our plants are green in color. The leaves are green in color because of this chlorophyll pigment. It helps leaves to capture the sunlight energy. So what is the major role of this chlorophyll pigment? So chlorophyll pigment helps to capture the sunlight energy. So sunlight energy is the ultimate energy on the earth. Correct? All right. So you can see cells here, right? Small cells. What are cells then? Okay. So the cells are very tiny units of the organisms. So here you can see, maybe, yeah, in this here only you can see here. You see here, this is your guard cells, we call them as guard cells. We have nucleus. Can you see the nucleus? It is the main center. Okay, it is a spherical structure, centrally located. It is located centrally. All right, then we have cell membrane. So this is called as your outer green color structure is there now, that is called as your cell membrane. That is nothing but thick wall, thin wall, whatever we call here. Okay, what is cell membrane? So that means this particular cell is enclosed by a thin, tiny boundary. Iga, when you have a house, you build a wall around it, compound wall, as a boundary. The same way here, the cell membrane acts as your boundary. It acts as your boundary for your cell. Then we have the cytoplasm. This is all called as cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is very jelly-like structure. Okay, it is jelly-like substance which is surrounds this particular nucleus and vacuoles. All right, so this is how all the simple cells in a body are made. This is in case of plants, and even we animals, that means human beings, also do have cells like this, but there are some differences in them. Okay, now let's go with the next. During the process of photosynthesis, water, carbon dioxide in leaves, chlorophyll pigment traps the sunlight energy and produce the carbohydrates. That means we have during the photosynthesis process. Can you see, the water comes in from here, the carbon dioxide is also taken in by the leaves, we have the sunlight energy which is being trapped by our leaves pigment, chlorophyll pigment, and they produce carbohydrate, that is sugar, and they give out oxygen. So now basically, where does our oxygen come from? We will be having a question, right? This is how we get the oxygen. It is there in the atmosphere, but we need in abundance, lot of amount, right? So this is how we get lots of oxygen. Photosynthesis not only takes place in leaves but also in other green parts of plants like stem and branches. So if you have observed the small herbs, right? Herbs. You know herbs, shrubs and trees? Okay. So if you have observed the herbs and shrubs, most of them are, the stem part is also green in color. So even the photosynthesis takes place in the stem and branches part also, because they have the chlorophyll pigment in their stem cells as well as in their branches cells. So now you would be asking, how does the photosynthesis takes place in the desert plants? They should have something special, right? You have studied in case of adaptation of plants, right? How they have modified themselves, the desert plants. If you remember, they have thick cell layer on their leaves, the stem plants. The leaves are very spine like, scale like, right? Pointed. Why they have this kind of arrangement? So that they can reduce the level of transpiration. They can reduce the level of transpiration. So, in case of desert plants, they have scale or spine-like leaves to reduce loss of water by the process of transpiration. They have green stems to carry out photosynthesis. That means their leaves are not broad like we have here. They are very tiny and scale spine-like structures. So, there even that leaves also undergoes the photosynthesis, but majorly their stem parts carry out the photosynthesis. Starch in leaves indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. Starch is a type of carbohydrate. So, to understand this particular point, we do have one activity in your textbook, activity 1.1. What you need to do is you need to take two plants in pots, okay, which are planted in two separate pots. One you have to keep at your home, you have to do this. One you have to keep in a place where the sunlight falls, okay. The other one you need to keep in a dark place, okay. You have to keep in a dark place. Keep it for 3-4 days, okay. Then afterwards you have to carry out the iodine test. Do you remember, in case of second chapter in 6th standard components of food, we had iodine test? What we'll do is we will be adding the iodine solution to the substance. If it turns into blue, which color it has to turn? Which color? Dark bluish, okay, dark bluish color. Then we say that bluish green or brown, it depends upon the kind of substance you take there. So dark bluish mainly, light to dark bluish, that shows the presence of starch. So if you want to check whether the photosynthesis has taken place or not, that means you need to go and put some drops of iodine solution on the leaves, okay. When you put those drops on the both the plants, one will turn into blue green color, the other won't turn. Then what would be the reason? Can anyone guess there? Yes, it is because the plant which you have kept in sunlight has undergone photosynthesis and it has produced the carbohydrates. But the other plant which you have kept in dark, where the no sunlight reaches, it, it doesn't change anything because there is no photosynthesis process taking place in that plant. Okay, so this is how we come to know that starch is the main carbohydrate present in the plants. Okay, now next we have the leaves. So we see not only green color leaves, we have some other color leaves also, right? Some are yellowish, reddish, brown. So how they get this color? They get this color because of their different kind of pigments present in them. So you would ask whether the photosynthesis process would take in them or not. Yes, photosynthesis takes in them also, because but they have different pigment for that. Okay. Now algae. Algae is a type of organism. Have you visited best in Dharwad Kelgeri Lake? So when you have visited, you would see a green color patches there. Not the plants, small slimy jelly type green color patches on pond, right? So that green color patch is formed because of your algae. So these algae, they have the ability to produce their own food. When I say they have the ability to produce their own food, that means they should have chlorophyll, right? Yes, They do have chlorophyll pigment in them. That's the reason they are able to produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Carbohydrates are made up of, now we say the carbohydrate is produced, correct? So this particular carbohydrate, it is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, carbohydrates are made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So these carbon, hydrogen, oxygen are further utilized to synthesize your proteins, the building block of body, and fats. Okay, now some plants have heterotrophic mode of nutrition. We say all plants are autotrophic. No, there are some plants which have this heterotrophic. That means they depend on other organism for their nutrition. Such one example is Cuscuta, umbrella. We call it Cuscuta. Okay, umbrella or general name. It is yellow, wiry branched structure climbing on stems and branches of other plant. Can you see here in the picture? Can you see? Yes, this is nothing but your Cuscuta. Then we have host. That means host is something, the source of food in case of plants. If you see here, it means which acts as a shelter for the other organism, that is called as host cell or host plant. Here you have a big tree on which your Cuscuta has grown. Therefore, the tree is called as the host because it is acting as a source of food for your Cuscuta. So the plants take all nutrition from host plant, thus Cuscuta is called parasite. That means the Cuscuta is depending on the tree for their food and it takes all the nutrition from the food. Okay, so that's the reason it is called as parasite. What is it called as? Parasite. Okay, understood? All right, let's go further. Now we had heterotrophic, that one we saw as parasite plants. Next is insectivorous plants. That means plants which eat the insects itself, insect themselves. What kind of they are? That means how it happens. Okay, let's see here. Insectivorous. That means these plants, they eat insects as their food. They eat these insects as their food for their nutrition. Okay, one such one plant is pitcher plant. It is a type of insectivorous plant. Pitcher like or jug like. Can you see here? This is called as pitcher plant. So can you see the jug like structure, J shaped structure here? Okay, it is actually the leaf, but it is been modified into like hollow J shaped structure. And we further have, you can see here J shaped structure, and we do have a lid there. Lid. So inside we have hairy. Can you see here hairy like structures? Small, small, small. Here up also we have, right? So whenever the insect comes and sits on this particular part, so they are being trapped there. And when they are trapped, this particular lid closes and the insects get completely trapped there. And once the insect is trapped, they produce special kind of juices which almost kill the insect. So whenever the insect comes and sits, because they have very attractive uh, substance on their hairs here. Okay, that's the reason insects feel very attractive towards that substance and they come and sit there. Once they sit there, they get stuck there. It, like your Fevicol. Best example. That means they get stuck there. So once they get stuck there, they can't go fly back. When they can't go fly back, here is your lid which closes this and the juices are secreted and the insect is killed. Okay, then saprotrophic nutrition, we heard something called as autotrophic nutrition, then we had a heterotrophic nutrition. Then next we have something called as saprotrophic nutrition. In case of this nutrition, Here, the mode of nutrition where we have an organism which takes food from dead and decaying matter. It means here the food is taken in from the dead and decaying matter. ಅಂದರೆ ಸತ್ತಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಕೊಳ್ತಿರುವಂಥ ಪದಾರ್ಥದಿಂದ ಅದು ತನ್ನ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೋತದೆ. Okay, so such kind of organism, that means the organisms having this mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs, and this mode of nutrition is called saprotrophic nutrition. Best example is fungi. Can you see here? If you have observed, now it is a rainy season, you might have observed wherever we have decaying materials, we have this kind of structures, fungi, that is called as, we call them as mushroom. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ನಾಯಿ ಕೊಡೆ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ, ನಾಯಿ ಕೊಡೆ, ಅಣಬೆ, ಈ ಥರ. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ವೇರ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗ್ರೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ವೇರ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡೆಡ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಕೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್, ಕೊಳೆಯುವಂಥ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಫಂಗೈ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮಶ್ರೂಮ್, ಗ್ರೋಸ್ ದೇರ್. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ symbiosis. What is symbiosis then? Some organisms live together and share both shelter and nutrition. This relationship is called symbiosis. That means, now don't get confused with the parasite and symbiosis. In case of parasite, there the organism is taking all the nutrition from the host plant. But in case of symbiosis, they live together and share both shelter and nutrition. Exchange ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಾರೆ. That's the reason this relationship is called symbiosis. What is it called as? Symbiosis. Now we have lichens is the best example. They have chlorophyll partner. That means lichens is made up of an algae and a fungi. So they live together. Fungus provides shelter and nutrition for the algae, and in return, algae produces food and gives it to fungi. This is called as lichen. This is called as lichen. Okay, here this is a we have fungi or as well as an algae. So fungi provides shelter and nutrition to the algae, and algae produces the food because it has the ability to produce its own food because it has chlorophyll in them. Okay, so they produce their own food and they just don't take it to themselves, they but give it to the fungi as well. So this is called as symbiosis. Okay, plants absorb nutrients and minerals from soil. Yes, they absorb nutrients and minerals from the soil for the process of photosynthesis to get the energy. The amount of soil, so their amount of soil is keep on declining. That means the fertility of the soil is decreasing. The fertilizers and manures are added to the soil containing nitrogen, phosphorus, right? We do add some additional powders, okay, additionals to keep it very fertile. Like we had something with the nitrogen in them, phosphorus in them. So plants use most of the nitrogen from the soil. So the plants during the process, different processes, it takes nitrogen from the soil. Thus, whenever we have taken it, they has to be again filled there. Like it is a box from which you have taken, again it has to be filled. So how to fill it? How to fill the soil with nitrogen again? Plants, see, we do have nitrogen atmosphere, but it is not available for plants because that form of nitrogen plants cannot utilize it. So it has to be given to the plants in the usable form, right? How does it happen? It happens by the help of a bacterium called as rhizobium. What is it called as? Rhizobium, which is present in the soil. Okay, this particular rhizobium has the ability to take the nitrogen from the air and convert it into a usable form for plants in soil. Okay, that means it takes the atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into usable form for the plants in the soil itself. But rhizobium cannot undergo photosynthesis, so it depends on plants for food. It cannot process the photosynthesis in itself. It depends on food for plants. Done? Understood? Okay. Last part is, so till now you came to know how the plants undergo photosynthesis, correct? What are the raw materials required for it? Then we came to know the heterotrophic nutrition in plants. Some of the plants which are heterotrophs, such as your Cuscuta, then insectivorous plants. Then we came to know about the symbiosis process, correct? So these all things you have studied. Then how the atmospheric nitrogen is converted into usable form in the soil for the plants by the rhizobium bacter. So please go through this particular chapter once again. Read it well. Okay. If you have doubts, please let me know. Alright. So then you have to answer these questions. Alright. See, these whatever you have studied in your previous class is related to your this particular academic year's classes also, the chapters also. Now they are linked to one another. If you understand this chapter perfectly, we can go with the next chapter and you can understand it more thoroughly. Okay. All right. Go through this homework, write them in your separate book. All right. And get it to the school by your parents. Okay. If you have doubts, please do write them. We'll try to clarify there. All right. Thank you.